Hey everyone, welcome to the Captain Drone YouTube channel. My name is Steve and this would be the Betafpv Pavo Pico II, and it's under 250 grams and it does have a DJI O4 light camera system in it, and it's built on a frame that is pretty darn cool. I don't know if I can show you. You can move the frame from side to side. So Betafpv says you will never get jello in this baby. It is really awesome. So I guess the first thing to do is take it for an indoor flight. Here we go. For this indoor flight, I'm gonna place it way back here on my little table right here. Now I do have to warn you, the VTX on that thing overheats really fast, but I also want to show you this. If you look this way, this is my hat cam. Look at outside. It's very dark right now, but it's actually daytime. We're having a big storm happening. So I've got to fly indoors. Here we go. Let's go before it overheats. I'm going to show you this thing is pretty cool for flying indoors. You could take it very slow, just ramping up the motors nice and slow. It's got a ton of power. Look at this. I'm going to slow it down. Another thing too is it has the DJI O4 light camera system, so you have to go through a passageway much farther than you would normally go through because the camera actually zooms in. And because it zooms in, you might be trying to turn around a corner, but you're not really around that corner. Well, there we go. I just smashed into the table, but I'm just showing you how cool it is. And if you want to go through objects like this little thing, there we go. Went through that. I'm trying to take it super slow to show you how agile this is. Now, indoors there's not a lot of light, so I don't know what the video quality of the DJI O4 is going to look like indoors, but from what I can see in my goggles, it looks a little grainy because it is pretty dark in here. But still, this is just to show you that you can fly this baby indoors. When the rain lets up and the sun comes out, I will take it outdoors and we'll do an outdoor flight. But for now, this is just indoors. For flight time, the company says you can get 6.5 minute flight time with this thing. I highly doubt that because it's too powerful. Look at that. I'm just touching the throttle and I'm blipping it all over the place. So I don't know how you'd get 6.5 minutes. The battery that comes with this, or the battery they recommend, is only like, I think, a 550. I'll put a picture of it on the screen, what it is. That's the battery they recommend. It's a lava battery, and their batteries are really good. But I think you'd be hard pressed to get 6.5 minutes of flight time with this little baby because of the power it has. They didn't make this to be wimpy. They made it to be super powerful. So there you go. All right, I'll bring it back and I'll land it on the table in front of me. I'm keeping it slow so that I don't crash it into my walls. Because we are going to be moving to a different house and I have to keep this house clean for the people that buy it. And coming down. So there we go. That's the battery I was using. It is a 550. This part of the video is going to be a prop noise test. I've flown this indoors and it's pretty quiet, so I'm just going to show you how quiet it is outdoors. Let me just plug this in. Even when it starts up, it's pretty darn quiet, so here we go. All right, let's arm the motors and take it up and you'll hear how noisy it is. Bring it over here in front of me, hover it nicely. I do have the white props on it. I switched the props to white. It's almost touching my controller in front of me here. It is pretty windy out this morning, so it's getting tossed around in the wind a little bit, but I'm gonna be quiet. And let me just see if I can hover it in the wind. All right, so that should give you a good indication of how noisy it is. I'm gonna tell you, to my ears, it's not very noisy. It's rather not super noisy, but rather not quiet, but rather, you know, in between. It's acceptable. Let's put her down. This maiden flight is going to be done with a 550 milliamp hour 2S LiPo battery, the recommended battery. Let's see how much flight time I get. All right, maiden flight on a very windy morning. Let's see how well this Pico II does.
Flight mode acro.
And where's my arm button? Here we go.
Armed.
All right, so I'm going to take it easy at first, just to get used to this. There's my little street. It's early morning. Everybody's in bed. Looks like I smudged up the camera a little bit in the center. I always find with these DJI lights, they're easy to smudge up. You can see the smudge as I'm flying here into the sun. But either case, this is it. I'm flying super slow. I was telling you it's windy out today, so let me just show you. Let me show you a tree. So if this video is good, you'll see this tree is bristling in the wind. There it is right there. And let's come on back. And I'm over here. And there we go. And now let's fly it normally. This is how I normally fly. Let's just try little spinnies. So acro-wise, not a problem whatsoever. It's very good for acro. Let's try a little bit of speed. Speed-wise, it's pretty slow. In my estimation, it's pretty slow. So this is me bombing around my street at what I would consider a fast speed, but that's about it. I think the faster you go to, you might get some jello or vibrations in the image. Not really sure because those little motors are spinning pretty darn quickly. But all in all, it's good. I wish I hadn't smudged up the camera up front because it looks a little smudgy, but I just want to do this for the flight test. So let's go away from the sun so it doesn't look as smudgy. So let's fly behind me. It's got really good signal ratios, so it should fly no problem. Going over my house, going down through the trees like I like to do a lot of times, at the cars, and over here on the side, and then back over to me. And I could pretend I'm a car and see if I could chase a car here. Yeah, I guess I could, but I don't want to go too far down the street because it's way behind me. I got the houses blocking me, everything. Look at that fiery red tree over here. Oh my God. Do you see it? Hang on a sec, I'll show you it again. Right over here. Okay, there's one there, a little bit red. And then over this way, right back there. Wow, that is really red. And then come on back to me. I don't like flying over the neighbors' houses because if it falls out of the sky, I have to do the walk of shame and go knock on their door. That one says Halloween, so nothing exciting. This one you can't see. This one says, I told you I was sick. Oh, I can't get through there, so I have to come back this way. And then back that way, and back that way, and back this way. There we go. Very flickable. You could control it without smashing into things. So what am I at now? 3 minutes of flight. So I am going to bring it back because one thing with these quads, if the battery dies while you're flying, you may lose your video. So I'm not going to take that chance. I'm just going to come back and land it right over here, and I'll tell you the total flight time. Right now it's telling me it's almost 4 minutes. It'll be 4 minutes when I land it. And land. So that means landing at 4 minutes. I probably could have did 5 minutes, but I'm kind of chancing it using that size battery. Using a larger battery, you could fly for much longer. Here we have the box the Pavo Pico II arrives in. The drone arrives fully assembled and ready to fly. You'll note that the entire DJI O4 Lite system is placed above the flight controller on top. The Pavo Pico II is held together with a carbon fiber frame shown here. This is a better image of the frame. The brushless motors are 1102 14,000 kV, but they are the 2025 edition. And those motors power the 45mm 3-bladed props. The recommended battery is a 2S 550 mAh LiPo battery, but you can use your own LiPo battery as long as you have an XT30 connector. Surprisingly, the flight controller on the Pico II is the same as that used on the Femto. Now the Pico II only comes with the DJI O4 Lite system, but if you want to install your own O4 Pro system, well then you need the O4 Pro canopy, and that is sold on the Betafpv website. The Pico II only weighs 54 grams, and if you add the recommended battery, then you're only up to 83 grams. A full set of spare props are included with the Pico II, but if you want to add your own colored props, well then once again Betafpv has you covered. You can buy some colored props off the Betafpv website. For me, I switched the black props to white props, as you can see here. Included with the Pico II is a USB-C connector so that you can connect it to Betaflight Configurator. You also receive some tools and some Jello grommets, a product support card, and a DJI O4 Lite instruction manual. Alright, so you're back to me, and the Pavo Pico is pretty darn cool, but I want to show you something. This right here is the Betafpv Femto that I reviewed earlier this year, and doesn't it kind of look like the Pavo Pico II? They kind of look the same. Well, this is the interesting part. Look at the Pavo Pico II is larger than the Femto, but the Pavo Pico II is more powerful and lighter than the Femto. That is just strange, but it's pretty darn cool. So if you do get the Pavo Pico II, you have a pretty awesome little quad. And that explains why on the new version, you get something like almost 6.5 minutes of flight time possible. But I wasn't getting that because my flying style is not just basic cruising around. You know, as soon as you're doing a little bit of flips and rolls and doing some speed, you're going to use up battery power. But even with that being said, it is more flight time than the Pico 1, and it is more flight time than the Femto. So if I look on the website, you can get this in the version I have here. Everything I showed you in the unboxing is what you get. There's also a plug and play version, which means you don't get the camera, but you get this entire system plus 2 canopies. You get a canopy for the DJI-04 Lite and the DJI-04 Pro. So if you own either of those cameras, get the PNP version. Just put your camera in the system and you're ready to go. I should also mention that when you order the Pico 2, you have a choice of ELRS for a receiver or S-Bus. So I was flying with ELRS, that's why I was using an ELRS radio, but I believe if you have the DJI FPV Remote 3, you can order this with S-Bus, and I believe it should automatically work. You know, it should connect no problem because the receiver it's going to use is the DJI-04 receiver, as long as that receiver is plugged into the S-Bus on the flight controller, which I believe it would be. So with all that said, I'm going to put the links to this product below, and I will tell you that I live in Canada, so when I look on the website, Canada and China, we do not have tariffs on things like this. So the price I see is around $200 to $220 US. If you live in the US and you have tariffs with China, your price could be ridiculously more. So the only way to know that is click on the link below and go check out what the price is for your country. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and I will catch you in a future video with many more cool products. And I have to say, I do have a lot of FPV drones I have to review, so you're going to see a lot of FPV drones coming up. Till then, I say bye.